10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Tripura claims a prominent place in northeast India for her exquisite natural beauty, spots punctuated with lush green sylvan treasure. The luxuriant forest of Jampui, the premier one among the 6 principal hill ranges of Tripura, provides a lifetime's exhilarating experience for the tourist. Jampui Hill, the permanent seat of spring, is situated at an altitude of about 1,000 feet above the sea level and about 250 kilometers away from Agartala, the capital of Tripura. Jampui is famous for its charming landscape and bracing climate. The hill range consists of cluster of tribal villages and is the home for colorful Lushai and Riang tribal communities. There are 10 small villages in Jampui Hills, and most of the inhabitants are the Mizo or Lushai community, with few Riang and Chakma. The villages are Vaisam, Manchuan, Mungpui, Lakshi, Wangmun, Veliangchip, Banglajian, Langsang, Sabual, Fuldungsai, Wangmun is the headquarters of Jampui RD block. The whole of Jampui Hills falls within Kanchanpur subdivision under North Tripura district. In early days, one could see excellent landscape in Jampui Hills, where the farmers grew orange in such a plenty that sometimes villages were found invisible in the midst of fruits. The quality of orange was so good that it won first position at fruits exhibition at New Delhi in the mid-80s. Since then, Jampui has become famous as a place where best quality oranges are grown commercially. With this recognition, more tourists became interested in visiting the area. So, for promotion of tourism, the Information and Culture Department of Tripura started the unique Orange and Tourism Festival celebration every year at Jampui Hills. A large number of tourists, both domestic and foreign, participated and enjoyed this festival. However, due to spread of orange diseases like milky dew, dieback and attack by pests, about 2/3 of the orange plantation has been wiped out. At present, Orange Festival has been discontinued due to decline in orange production and for other reasons. Those days are gone where tourists used to visit these places to see orange orchard in a large number. All these crises have been doubled by the practice of jhum cultivation all over the Jampui Hills for agriculture, for plantation, almost denuded the hilltops with rich wilderness. There was an immense use of firewood for cooking fuel, and this loss of cover resulted to acute water crisis all over the Jampui Hills. This dry season existed for 5 to 6 months a year and is in the increase. The problem is so acute that all water harvesting systems have fallen short. It is a very common feature to be seen at Jampui Hill that the group of women are busy collecting water walking long distance. Water carrying by van has become profitable professions for some people here. After collecting water from very small streams, they distribute it to different locations in Jampui Hills.
Hey, ina man tura le in super na ke in buana ke ta na man tur ania Chuan motor kasingal pa puka. Chuan kay mahi ramuana. Kanya. Chuan kan kuat chu munpui, jampui, Tripura. Anya. Chuan motor sim silang ay wangin. Heta siluya ka sukal ania.
Recently, there has been the introduction of an innovative 500 GPH capacity water supply project at Lakshi of Jumpui Hills. For this purpose, the government of Tripura has established a pump house and made a concrete structure for purifying the water. Firstly, they pump the water to a structure called the aerator. There are 5 concrete steps where the water gets purified or cleaned. The government had started supplying water from these plants to nearby locations by pipeline now. People of this part of hills are very happy as they are getting clean water delivered to their doorsteps. A little part of this water is also being used in nursery for betel nuts. The sparkling lights that reflects on water is aerator looks very nice. As dying of orange trees, erosion of soil and other reasons have destroyed the economical backbone of the people living in this part of Tripura, the farmers involved in orange cultivations are taking interest in cultivating other crops, especially betel nut, in Jumpui Hills to sustain their livelihood. Orange production has reduced a lot compared to previous years, and the farmers are not getting profit from this cultivation. According to a survey, the orange production in 2015-16 was 31,975 metric tons, which has drastically reduced from 36,521 metric tons in the previous year. The production and quality of orange in Jumpui Hills is declining in recent years. Naturally, a good number of cultivators have shifted to betel nut cultivation. Apart from state, there is huge demand of betel nut in Kachar and Karimganj district of Assam where they can export it. The orchards are dying due to inadequate and scientific nurseries. Until the late 80s, about 12,000 hectares of the hilly areas were once covered with orange trees, but over the years the cultivation of oranges went down to a mere 492 hectares. The orange orchards of the Jumpui Hills were converted into farms for other cash crops. In such a scenario, there is a success story of small village named Vaisam, where some cultivators are trying their hand in cultivating betel nut as their livelihood. The people of Jumpui Hills are very hardworking too. Despite geographical disadvantages, the people of Jumpui Hills have succeeded in horticultural plantation like betel nut on a large scale. Vaisam is a very small village and only 40 families are living there. Among them, 32 families are of Mizo community and 8 families are of Riang community. It is a very peaceful and clean hamlet which was established approximately around 1941. In almost every house there have a nice lawn with a flower garden. The white-colored huge structure of Vaisam Baptist Church, also established in 1941, stands tall. The design of the church is quite unique. In front of this church, there is a structure, Bedi, saying Vaisam Platinum Jubilee 1941 to 2016, written on black stone. People of this old village celebrated the Platinum Jubilee with great enthusiasm and honor. Education is another important variable in determining the socio-economic condition of the household in Vaisam. It is important as its help in proper management of agricultural inputs, technical know-how, and minimization of cost, as well as better planning, which in turn can get improved agriculture productivity and increased income return of the cultivation to cultivators of Vaisam.
পেস্টিসাইডের যে বিষক্রিয়া তার যে টক্সিসিটি লেভেল ওটার উপর ভিত্তি করে চার ভাগে ভাগ করা হয়েছে পেস্টিসাইডের যে তীব্রতা অনুসারে। যে রেড মার্ক থাকে দ্যাট ইজ এক্সট্রিমলি টক্সিক, খুব বিষক্রিয়া। হাইলি টক্সিক কী করে বুঝবে? ইয়েলো সাইন, হলুদ সাইন থাকবে, যেটা এক্সট্রিমলি থেকে আরেকটু তার টক্সিসিটি কম। তারপরে হচ্ছে মডারেটলি টক্সিক, নীল কালারের হবে। তারপরে যেটা সবচেয়ে সেফ, নিরাপদ যেটা, সেটা হচ্ছে সবুজ, green, that is slightly toxic.
The people of Jampoi Hill are very much aware of education. In the village of Vaisam, there is a senior basic school where children pursue their education. On 18th April 2013, the Vaisam SB School, established in the year 1943, celebrated 70 years of Foundation Day.
Coming to Lalthang Vunga, Ania, Vaisam Kua Piang Kania, Hesikula Hian Kumsom Ni Chuanga Tokto, Hesikul Din Tirian Kapachu Zirtir to Masaberania, Mission Sikulani Line Sankazakwa Somli Patumatangina Tokchana, Tichuan Kechu Sankazakwa Somriat Pakata, Zirtir to Nakamua, Hesikula Hensom Sankazakwa Som Kua Paruka. Kalu tana tichuan sang nile pathuma headmaster na kamua tuna hian headmaster ni in high school hian ka umme kani zirlai som nile pathum chau kan ne tuna hian khote takte ni wangin chuan zirlai nau pangte tuna hian anlo hore lai takania he pakhat chia kabula hian adinga.
As the orange production drastically declined, here the most of the villagers were faced with a great trouble for maintaining their livelihood. They cultivated turmeric, ginger, bean, maize, etc., which is possible in the soil and climatic condition of Jampoi Hills. But as the result were not really satisfactory, they were not able to overcome these difficult times. Then they noticed that there was a good demand for betel nut in the market and their price was very good. They also come to know from the experts that the climate and soil condition of Jampoi Hills are suitable for cultivation of betel nuts. Betel nut, as a maritime spices, is grown in areas of up to 400 kilometers to 50 ml inland from the coast of India at an elevation below 1,000 meters, 3,300 feet. Extreme climatic condition, particularity of temperature, are not suitable for its growth. It thrives in areas with temperature range of 14 to 36 degree C, 57 to 97 degree F. It also grows in areas where the temperature varies from a minimum of 4 degrees C, 39 degree F to a maximum of 40 degrees C, 104 degree F. Good rainfall conditions are essential for its growth, say a well-distributed annual rainfall of more than 2,250 millimeters. During the process of drying of the whole fruits or processed nuts, sunshine requirements varies from 7 to 45 days. The plant grows in well-drained, deep clay loamy soil, red loam and alluvial soils are considered most suitable. Betel nut farming to achieve good yield needs large applications of orange manures and chemical fertilizers. The gestation period for the betel nut tree to yield fruits varies from 4 to 8 years. Its lifespan is up to 60 years and in some cases even 100 years. Pollination takes place due to the effect of wind. The tree bears small creamy white flowers which have a strong scent. The fruit grows to a ripening stage in about 8 months. The tree bears bunches of fruits which are plucked manually. The main advantages for cultivating the betel nuts is the chances of diseases are minimum. The types of diseases affecting the area nut plant are bud rot, fruit rot, yellow leaf disease, which need to be tackled by chemical spraying. When the betel nut trees are affected by diseases, the fruit size and quantity is reduced. Also, the leaf of betel nut plants curls up. Steps for prevention should be taken for these type of effects as soon as possible. Firstly, it is necessary to remove the soil cover very gently till the affected roots of the trees can be seen. This procedure should be done without damaging the roots. Wormies, kecho, in the roots are responsible for small size and less quantity of crops. So just after finding these types of symptoms, it is urgently needed to use pesticides on the roots to prevent the diseases. The main advantages are that the chances of diseases are minimum and if affected, it is curable with a little nursing. All of these reasons motivated people of Vaisam to switch their profession to betel nut cultivation. The growth of betel nut trees is very much favorable due to the perfect weather and soil condition of Jampui Hills. Quality and quantity of the betel nuts are most profitable compared to other producers here. Within a short period, a change for the better can be seen in plants and farmers are able to find better crops. All these attracted the cultivators of Vaisam to switch their profession. Mr. Jadling Liana is the person responsible for starting the cultivation of betel nuts at Vaisam village. In 1994, he started to cultivate betel nut plantation with some skepticism about its viability. But within few days, the good growth of the plantation made him very optimistic. Being very laborious and energetic, he has got the success. From that time, he never had to look back and only took his steps forward.
Coming to Zading Liana, why some Kua Zampuemi Kania, Zirna Lamachuan BA, Silongotan Kazawa, Sankat Zakua Samsari Kuma, Tituan Tienu, Nupuidal Dong Liani, Kanea, Sankazakua Samsari, Pasaria. Confade to Zonun Sanga, BA. Zonun Vula, M.A. Zonun Kima, M.A. Zonun Pui, M.A. Nalsang Liani, B.A. Chung Te Kan Fa Ten Nia, Tuna, Na Tony Wikin Anoma, Tituan Tun Main, Setlum Huan, Kasiama. Sang Khajakua, Samsari Panga, Kumatran Sel Lumpuan, Kasiama, Juan Kung Sing Khatlai Kapuna, a 10 Kantel Mana, 10 Kanatel Main, Atam Tree, Virasin, Atitita Veka, Tuminu Juan, Fatele Khazirna, Andu Sia, Kuva, Tan Kalata. cụ hoa sáng khởi giờ của sông của bà lia cụ hoa cái phun chân à thì chuan với ní thingin cái cụ hoa phun tu cũng sinh tra gen zone anh à thì chuan ra tê cái đầu tê về ta cái lim khóc mấy.
The suitable climatic condition of Vaisam have favored the plantation cultivation of betel nut across the area. In addition, plantation sector is playing an important role in providing pertinent livelihood of marginal and resource-poor farmers in the village. The costs of seedlings and labor are the major cost involved in setting the plantation garden. Most of the farmers of Vaisam were establishing their plantation by purchasing seedlings from others or local market. From nursery, the small betel nut trees of 4 to 6 months age are transferred to the main land where those are planted. At the time of plantation, it should be made sure that the baby trees are planted in proper distance of 3 to 4 feet. If these trees are planted closer, the proper growth will be hampered. The ground level soil should be dressed and a little bit of watering is essential for proper nurturing. Labor cost is another cost component involved in setting the plantation. It is needed for clearing shrubs, trees, digging pits, planting and cleaning of garden. The first 3 years required 3 times cleaning in a year, and from 4th year it required 2 times cleaning in a year. Rainfall is the only source of irrigation received by the farmers. Now let's see a demonstration of growing a betel nut plant, that is tweak, from a betel nut. Firstly, the ripened betel nut will be put into a gunny bag and kept in the shed of a house. Daily spraying of water is needed for germination. This process will continue for a few months. After germinating, those betel nuts are kept in a small field generally adjacent to house. Then those nuts are put into a soil one by one after digging. Within short period, the baby plant come out from the soil. These small plants can be grown up here for 4 to 6 months. During the growing period of the plants, they need some care like regular watering, cleaning, etc.
Lal than pui ain para ke jam pui hil bai sam ke ang pore mo ke class 12 botau ke pore ang tha ai nem thano bo kwai chara ke thio bo nang khru mi ke bo si ha ke pore ma yang tha na tau ke bo kwai chara ke ne ke pui la ke phang ni khau te bo stau da ye ta tham sauri te na sauri pai ke te ro abono daily to te balti tham daily di na ya pai ke yarong khang ke abo kwai ni yarong khang ke boro to kai phe na bo ain no samono chara pho kheu ang bin thi bo pai ya ke boro kai pe hang ke ta noi ta tham pore ke bo atai hang ke bo na achai ke ain bagano te nang e kayo asu no ha.
The other costs associated with betel nut plantation includes cost of harvesting, transportation and storage. Labor is required for plucking and collecting. The men who are new engaged in plucking the betel nut are expert in climbing the trees, as the trees are very tall in height. After climbing a tree, they cut the branches of the fruits and ease it down with a rope to prevent any damage to the fruits. Sometimes they drop it directly without a rope, in which case a man holds a jute bag in which he catches the fruit. There is another process where the branches of fruits are cut from the itself by using a sharp blade installed on a bamboo or wooden pole. There were two varieties of betel nut cultivated in the areas identified by the growers through their shapes and period of production. They called them as Desi type and Assami type. Desi type was round in shape and was smaller than Assami type. They started to bear fruits on September and at the end of February. On the other hand, Assami type was bigger in size and Desi type and was oval in shape while bearing fruits on January and at the end of June. It was revealed from studies that almost all the growers grew both types of Desi and Assam respectively. But it should be noted that the proportion of Desi type production was much higher than the Assami type in the village of Vaisam. The area nut tree grows as a single stem and has generally a height of about 30 meters, 98 feet. The fruit which bears the nut is orange colored and is in the shape of an egg or oval shape. It holds a hard single lead. The buyers of the betel in Vaisam were mostly traders from Karimganj district of Assam. They bought the product either from the market or they have direct contact with the farmers and buy betel nut from their home. These products were taken to Badarpur of Assam, where huge quantities of betel nuts were stored and again distributed in different states of northeast India. There are some other small markets where small traders come with ripened betel nuts collected directly from the cultivators. In these markets also, huge number of buyers and sellers participate. Before purchasing, buyers engage in bargaining and quality control of betel nuts. In addition, it was also observed that some traders from Mizoram were also buying betel nut from the growers through direct contact. They come to Vaisam with their own transport during the harvesting season. Generally, they purchase the whole crop after an immediate spot verification of the garden. Sometimes they also purchase the betel nuts from local market or the farmer's house. They carry or collected betel nuts in gunny bags. The selling process of betel nuts are mainly in three forms such as ripen, green, that is raw, and dried either at home or market. Previously, local peoples used the term buy for selling betel nuts, where one buy is 420 ripened betel nuts and for green betel nuts, one buy is 440 betel nuts. Prices were determined per buy. It is common features in Vaisam village to have huge numbers of bundled betel nuts bags in front of every house stacked for exporting to market. Recently, the farmers of Vaisam are selling the products in a bag because of the difficulties and complexities in counting of betel nuts. Another form of selling is based on whole garden for one season. In this system, traders purchase the whole garden after making observation of the garden and fix the price with the farmers, where both have bargaining power. The traders will have owned the garden for the particular season and also bear all the cost for plucking and collecting. The price is fixed based on various factors like the number of trees bearing flowers, previous year market prices, and expected market price. Due to the simplicity and less risk factor of this system, many farmers of Assam are now selling their whole crop in the garden. Another cause for this system to be attractive is that there is no cost-bearing factor except little initial cost. Ripened betel nuts were dried under the sunshine for 4 to 50 days and are taken to market for sale. The dried betel nuts continued in one bag is 4.5 to 5 bai. These products are taken to Badarpur of Assam, where huge quantity of betel nuts are stored and again distributed to different parts of the country. The benefit of selling of betel nut in dry form is that it can be stored for a certain period. In off-season, the farmers are able to get good price by selling those. Near Vaisam village, there is a market. In every market day of the week, lots of people gather here. Sellers come here with variety of products to attract their customers. Here the local villagers sell chopped up ripe betel nuts in a packet. Locally, it's called kuba, which contains betel leaf, lime and betel nuts. They sell it to the customers for rupees 10 per packet. Here the demand of this packet is very high. To meet the huge demand, the sellers are always busy in making it by removing the shell of the betel nuts, chopping and then packing it. They make good money by selling these.
Jampui hill ni angke kwai mai mo singke thea kho ro mayo somoy singke sota go 40 teka ro mai pio sa sawo somoy 300 ro mayo rijak tham ro angke somoy singke 400 ro mai pio abudi ke se kwai phamo mai mo tongo bok kwai phamo bai bodi ke mai tongai singke no khumi bok pandawo salboi phame singke chukmo tongo joto brorofo bodi ke pasnunge rane rosnunge phane rosnunge chung phacha laike kwai phamo ipo chung poribarnom thangmayo.
Additionally, they process the betel nuts before selling it to the customer. Firstly, they cut the outer shell of the betel nuts with a sharp blade. Then they boil those betel nuts to remove the raw part. After this process, they dry the betel nuts in sunshine. Now the processed betel nuts are ready to consume. Obviously, the price of such processed betel nuts are higher. Presently, Mr. Jadling Liana is earning around rupees 25 lakhs from selling of betel nuts. In 1994, he was cultivating 10,000 plants in his land, and now the quantity has increased to 50,000 plants. From a little distance, the betel nuts garden of Jadling Liana looks like a green sea with a gentle tide. Almost every tree bears a good crop. All the garden looks very clean and healthy. The magic touch for nurturing the gardens of Jadling Liana gradually increased their numbers of plants.
Kan tinga tituan athar rauti kan lo sala tituan khuami te poin lo nei ain ku va huan kha an ron tui ve ta zela tituan khuain ku va va sama chuan kan lo ching ta tituan zampui lang tu ma po kan in ti mu zela Jampui tang tu ma po ku wa kan ting war ta via ba kum tina lo nei ai chuan a hlokin kan thria hei hi kan tribal pui te poina an ti ve tan an du khop mai kum tina lo wa ngai lo wa kum tina thar thei han nei hi a hlimom khop mai ti chuan mun dang danga po an war ve ta zela in kan chevel bru ho te point an phun ve ta zela alo mom khop mai ti chuan ku vara chu kum khata noi som bor ve te kan ter ve chu ni mai na lo mom khop mai.
Gardening is the hobby of Mr. Jadling Liana. Even in his old age, he is regularly busy with nursing in his garden. Beautiful flowers, plants adorn the lawn of his house. His children and grandchildren are all well established and educated. In the village house, he is passing his time finally with his wife. They are living in between the nature, leading a simple lifestyle. Besides betel nuts, he also has a coffee plantation. It gives him a source of extra income. He also has a coffee grinding machine in his house. By this machine, he can process the raw coffee. After seeing the success of Mr. Jadling Liana, now in the village of Vyasam, almost every family are engaging in cultivation of the betel nut. Among them, there are around 4 to 5 farmers earning more than rupees 3 to 5 lakhs. The income range of other villages of Vaisam are very satisfactory and increasing day by day. Almost every tree in Vaisam bear good quantity of betel nuts during its season. The farmers here produce some intercrops like coffee, banana, ginger, turmeric along with betel nuts. They cultivate these crops in between the gaps in betel nut trees in the garden. Not only in Vaisam village, but the success of Mr. Jadling Liana has influenced people from the nearby localities as well who have started to cultivate betel nut with great enthusiasm.
Cảm hình chú là rau thì cá nia mùn pui khoa giảm pui hill cá nia cụ và huan xiêm ai zong cá nia cụ và huan cá xiêm hay nursery ta cá xiêm boka hay hi cá lap phun lệ tur nakum sáng hi som paria ta cá phun tur ania tu này hen phun sa ngâm một sát cái này tàu boka thì để dễ có cả là tum boka hay nursery te có là xiêm dễ cả tum boka hay cái này giòn nan đi vàng chắc là túi ta cả cái tỷ dễ thì apoi mo em tôi trả boka in trả đun.
At last, it can be said that the betel nuts are an important source of livelihood for the peoples of Vaisam, whose lands are not suitable for other food crops cultivations. Thus, betel nuts have become an important source of livelihood and acts as the dominant source of income for the cultivators. The employment potentiality cannot be neglected either due to its high labor intensity. In addition to betel nuts cultivation in the Vyasam village, other allied agriculture activities are also practiced, which in turn adds to their income. Their socio-economic conditions have improved and they have got a new path of development. As a result, the inhabitants of Vyasam are now very determined to preserve their traditional culture.